Hey, everybody. Today's episode is a recording. It's a snippet from one of our recent Elevate Mastermind meetings. And in this recording, one of my co leaders, Kurt and Elizabeth Phillips, they were shortly after the meeting going to go check out a new deal that they were working on. And so, in this part of the meeting, we were discussing he was presenting the key numbers for the deal, his interaction with the seller and what he knows about them. And then as a group, we were talking through kind of analyzing the deal, what we thought of it, how we would try to buy it, whether we thought it was good or not, and why. So I thought it'd just be beneficial to you just to get that deal analysis. So I hope you enjoy. And if the concept interests you in any way, definitely check out our mastermind. You can find more information or an application at truewealthinvestors.com/mastermind.
I have a deal that I'm getting ready to walk here right after this meeting, and I figured I would just present that and instead of trying to figure out what, that way
specific houses.
Specific house that we're getting ready to walk through. So I'll just share it with you guys, and then we can just talk about it. How's that? I haven't been in this property yet. I know the neighborhood really well. We own a house just over the hill, about a block and a half from it. Nancy, you may have been in one of the properties over
town. It's a little town.
Here are the details of the deal. The owner actually contacted me.
How did he find you?
So he found my name from a realtor. He lives. I know this is bizarre. This hasn't happened very many times, but he lives in Maryland. His daughter lives in this house. He's friends with a realtor, but he doesn't want to use a realtor, and so she gave him our name and said these people will take care of you. And he called me and literally said, she said, you take care of me and I trust your professional opinion. Like, wow, I need to send this realtor like a serious bouquet of flowers or something. But anyway, and what's funny is he actually called me and I didn't know the number, and I had a whole bunch of voicemails because we had open units. And so it took me like 4 days to get back with him. I just didn't even know it was him until I found the voicemail. I'm like, oh crap, you've got to be kidding me. Like this, and he's like, I figured you were just busy. So anyway, he doesn't want to use a realtor. Here's the specs of the property. He doesn't have a lien on it. It's debt free. He owns it outright. He's asking $70,000. Fixed up, it's probably $130,000. That's or a little less. I would say 125 to 130, but I think 130 is pretty good. That's the after repair value. It's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath. The tax assessed value is $83K. And it will rent for about $1,000 to $1,100. So again, I haven't been in the property. I don't know what it needs. He doesn't know what it needs because he lives in Maryland. We're in Lancaster, Ohio. His daughter's been living in it. And so he's like, whether she's taking care of it, I don't know.
But
hopefully
she's moving.
Moving. She's actually showing us the property today.
So, and she's moving into a multifamily, which is also a block away from a couple of our other units. So it's
I didn't know that.
She's moving into a multifamily
So
herself.
So that is the deal. We're getting ready to walk through it. So I am open to ideas or whatever. So let's just talk about the deal.
As far as funding?
As far as acquisition.
Funding.
Yep.
First off, if you don't want it, Chad or I'll take it.
It may be destroyed. I don't know. Okay, so I have some buyers.
Actually, I know.
Chris just got out of my buyers list. Okay, got it. Anybody else?
And
we can bump up the price here.
And I know somebody who can help with like taking pictures for you, you know.
Well, I mean, if the daughter's living there, how bad could the rehab be? I mean, it has to be in decent shape, maybe outdated, but that's about 50% of ARV purchase price. I mean, I think it's gonna be a good deal. So
Don't
what's
pay
the
70 for it. So I mean that's the starting price, right? I mean he gave you his starting price, and you haven't walked it. So after walking it, are you going to be making the offer to him on the phone?
Mhm.
Well, he might not be a Facebook. I mean, whatever FaceTime or Zoom, but I like to, if I'm walking a property, because most of my time we're doing it on the phone, but if I walk a property, I want to make the offer in the worst room in the house. But you know, you're starting at, well, if you don't make the offer in the worst room in the house, you're crazy. Because when you offer, they're gonna be like, what? And you're go, you understand what we're standing in, right? But I mean, you do it in a classy way. But I'm just saying, I just want everybody to hear you got offer 70 and you haven't even walked it. You can at least discount 5,000. If you're, hey man, if I take this off your hands and I can do closing cost and make this real simple for you, when people tell me their price 70, the first thing I say is, I'm so happy to hear that. And they're like, why? I was like, well, because I was at 55 and that's not that far. So I'm thinking there's something here, and that way you listen to what they say. But I think you got a great deal on your hand.
That's awesome, Chris. Setting them up for less, because then you can always do increments. That's brilliant. Thank you.
Well, Kurt hasn't anchored yet. This gentleman just told him he'd like to get 70. Kurt hadn't even set his anchor yet. Even if Kurt goes in and goes, this is actually a $70,000 house, he's still going to say, hey man, I'm at 60. And then I don't know why it works, but whenever I'm 10,000 apart, I'm like, hey, you want 70, I want 60. How about we both win and I pay 65? And what's crazy is 9 out of 10 times they say, yeah, they didn't win. I did. I just got $5,000 off. But somehow mentally they think, yeah, okay.
So Kurt, what is your exit strategy? Are you thinking about buying and holding? Are you thinking about flipping it, or what are you thinking about doing with it?
Great question. So I would like to buy and hold this. As much as flipping is nice, it was so painful.
It was
so painful.
awful.
I don't like flipping, and I don't like wholesaling either, because then it's gone. I'm not a good wholesaler at all. I find these properties that I can wholesale, and I'm like, or I could keep it, And so yeah, I would hold this one, Shanetta.
So then if you buy it for, let's say you bought it at 70 and you only had to put 5 into it to get it rent ready, then what would you do?
Then we would rent it, because we have a huge waiting list for that size of house. So
I guess I was asking, well, so you're all in at 75 and you said you think it's worth 130. So you're just going to rent it, or are you going to buy it, renovate it, and then do anything else, or just going to just stay in all in at 75?
No. So yeah, so we have a couple of different options here of acquiring the property that I've thought through. So we have the funding ourselves, right? We could just knock it out quick and not make any phone calls and make it clean and easy. Because we free up some capital through some refinances and stuff, which is the whole purpose behind that. I do have private money available. I can get it funded through private money. So I got a couple of guys that are actually hey, you refinance this out, like where's the next deal type of thing. I'd really like to put them in multifamilies. I got a few multifamilies that I'm gonna work through here that hopefully will work out. I'd really like to put them there, but I'm not necessarily picky. They're not picky. They don't care. They just want paid. The other option is that he owns it outright, and I don't know. He just wants it gone. He's not doing anything with it. he used it for his family, and he doesn't want the hassle of having a tenant in there and dealing with it. So it's one of those things. He's had it for a long time. He's like, I just want it gone. I don't even know. Like, he wouldn't even know if it's still standing. He's not following up on it or anything. So that's,
But
so I don't know if seller financing would be an option for him or not. But anytime I hear paid for, obviously my antenna goes up for that.
What's his reasoning for not wanting to deal with a realtor?
You know, he saw it as a hassle. He didn't even say the cost, which is what I always expect, is it's too expensive. For him, it was just he didn't want the hassle. If he could be done with it and just be done with it quick, that's what he wanted.
Well, and the hassle is that he doesn't want to go through a bid and then concessions and then inspection. Find somebody that will take on the risk and not just be done with it.
Yeah.
Which still might be a play for you. Hey man, I'll take a 100% of the risk. Could I make you some cash flow, you know, where the risk is 100% on me, but you're making a little monthly stipend off of it? And then if no, then you know, okay, I just got to buy it from them.
Yeah.
Well, especially for him being in another state, he's an older gentleman. What might help him is to defer the capital gains and the recapturing the depreciation. You know, he's in a higher cost area than what we are here. So he's probably income level higher than what is here. So for him to not have to have all of that all at once is definitely an advantage.
Yeah.
For all of us, though, you've brought a situation where the numbers are good. It's really, what does the seller want to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the idea of the if you can get seller financing, still doing a BRRRR, but just using the seller as like your private lender for the acquisition. I mean, interest rates are so low, and financing is fairly easy right now. I feel like you probably don't want to leave that much equity in the house long term, you know. So I don't know if you would, unless it's 0% financing, I don't know if you would want to do really long term seller financing. But maybe shorter term seller financing and still BRRRR and pull out some of that equity. It's kind of where I would lean. But
yeah, because he might just be willing to do 6 months. I mean, do you need more than 6 months if he's willing to hold it for you while you're doing the work?
I don't know yet, but probably not. I mean, honestly, in 6 months, if we're still working on this thing in 6 months, there's something drastically wrong.
No, I just asked for the 6 month. I like the 6 months so I don't have any pressure on me. I mean, no, I'll do 3 months, but I won't do 6 months.
No, totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah, I'm just saying from a rehab perspective, but yeah, I agree. Anything less than 6 months makes me nervous too.
And what do you guys like to do when you get that much meat on the bone? Do you like to refi and pull that cash out and put it in your bank?
Depends.
We generally like to just clear everything, zero everything out. I like having equity in my portfolio. So if I can just refinance it. So for example, if he was the lender on this deal, it was a seller finance, I pay him out at the end, and then any acquisition costs, closing costs, rehab costs that we incurred through the entire process, replenish all of that, and then leave. You know, we might pull some out, but generally we like to leave equity in there because the banks, for one, our bank really likes that. They get all, I mean,
They
man,
get giddy.
they do. Who does that? They just want to take the full 85%, you know? But we leave equity in it because that's, for us, that's our long-term strategy.
And because we protect the cash flow on the property.
And that's probably the most important thing, is it protects the cash flow. If I take the full 85%, it's going to eat into that cash flow, and that's really all I care about is monthly cash flow. Equity is nice, but you can't eat equity.
So just for our new folks, to make sure you followed all of that. So if we bought it at 65, we put in 5,000.
Which would be amazing.
Which would be amazing, right? That it always goes over budget. All right. So
it's called 15.
That's better. Yeah, that's more accurate.
Can't beat that.
So we're 80,000 all in. And then what they're saying is we have a local bank, we would refinance it out. It would appraise at 100,000. We would only take 80 rather than the bank will do up to 85%. But we don't like to take the full 85% because that makes our monthly payment too high. So when he's saying we want to protect the cash flow, that means we want to make sure that the monthly amount that we take as an owner draw from that property is a good amount. If we took the full 85%, it may not be as much monthly cash flow as we want. So we're leaving equity, that extra amount in the property per se. It's pretend money, right? You can't eat it, but it's in the property. So does that help? I just want to simplify that a little bit in a more linear progression.
All right, so I have a question. So, all right, say you do this. Isn't it better for you to be holding the note anyway than owner holds the note? You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to figure this out, like what I'm going to do.
So the only reason that since he owns it outright, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If somebody else is holding it, that's fine. At least in my estimate. I don't know if Chad, Chris, you guys have a different take on it, but for me, it doesn't really matter. It's now the interest rate is going to be higher, probably. Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be than through a bank, but chances are it could be because, like Chad said, the interest rates with banks right now are just fantastic for a refinance. So,
but it's also speed of closing. So there's things that we have to consider. If we owner finance, we
could close pretty quick.
Right, we can close pretty quick. But like, for example, if somebody were buying it conventionally with 20% down, that would be a laborious process. But that's why we do the creative financing too.
As far as holding the note, Nancy, holding the note, a bank holds your note when you're buying from it. This guy holds your note while you're buying for it. It really comes down to what they're saying is it's cash flow. Ultimately, it's what does this guy want to do? Second, they're trying to go for maximum cash flow. So they could care less who holds the note. They still have control of the property, right? This guy holds the note, but they're the owners. So they get to dictate what they're going to do with the property.